Guns Akimbo is directed by Jason Lai Holden and stars Daniel Radcliffe, Samara Weaving, and among others. And in this film, it deals with a, uh, a computer programmer named Miles, who's played by Daniel Radcliffe, who basically does his time trolling people online and stuff, playing games and everything. And then one day he ends up getting into this type of forum where basically he realized that this actual guy that's cute monitor him runs this program called Schism. And basically, this program, what he doesn't realize is that it's real people that are actually murdering people for entertainment. And
And then
and
while it's being filmed, it's like this big world where everybody's watching and they're putting bets and watching people get like actually killed. And
it's all
yeah, Daniel
it's
Radcliffe,
basic yeah, it's basically the
his
equivalent of a
character,
gamer.
yeah,
And
Daniel Radcliffe's character, he was trolling the shit out of that Schism dude, talking shit to him. That's what pissed that guy off. He pulled up his IP address, and they end up, if you've seen the trailers, he ends up answering a door and getting jumped, beaten, and knocked out. And he wakes up to guns bolted to his hands.
yeah,
And he's told he's got 24 hours to kill this one girl or he dies.
yeah. And pretty much it becomes a race against time and him having to not only try to go after her, but also the guys but also everyone else involved that's trying to go after him. And now here's a little backstory. Now, this movie got me interested from the trailers because we've been seeing this trend with, I noticed that in the last few years or so, Daniel Radcliffe, who's best known playing Harry Potter, he's been taking a lot more distant from doing like a lot more mature movies and a lot more like balls to the wall R-rated films within the last decade. And I've always enjoyed with him a lot of his movies nowadays, especially a few years ago. I watched a movie called Jungle and everything. So I appreciate that the guy has really moved on from Harry Potter and doing different roles. And with this one, it got me
I,
interested with the whole concept of like the actual like video game type world and everything because it kind of plays off kind of like Crank, but also a little bit of gamer and everything, and
yeah,
somewhat of Scott Pilgrim.
yeah. If you yeah, Daniel Radcliffe, I like seeing actors. What got me involved was the trailers. For one, being on like this like kind of video game world, kind of like you said. If you are into Crank or Scott Pilgrim, mainly Crank and Gamer, mainly Crank especially, you will love this movie because it's batshit fucking insane like that. But yeah, anyways, Danny Radcliffe, I've seen him take other roles. There's a lot of other films I watched of his that you didn't quite get to, like one of them being an Imperium, where he played a white supremacist going into white supremacy. So it's kind of neat to see actors that get stereotyped in like much calmer roles and then they take that shit roles. And I like that. And I'm glad that, when I saw the trailers of it, I was like, man, it's gonna look like like a fun time. It had like this whole video game where like fucking coins are falling out of them and shit. I thought this was gonna be like Ready Player One-ish. So I was like, okay. And then I found out it ain't even a fucking really a theoretical release film. I'm like, wow, this kind of has that feel like it was gonna be in theaters. So, anyways, yeah, I was interested in the trailers. Upon seeing the film, it's fun. It's really really fun. It has some flaws to the movie though, but I still had it was still pretty entertaining.
Yeah, I agree. It was definitely a lot of fun. It's fun to a certain extent, but it definitely knows. I appreciate the film knows what it's like. The film knows what it's doing, and it really creates a great concept like this and goes for it to a certain point, to a certain extent for me. Now to get my pros out of the way, Daniel Radcliffe, he was a blast in this. I was glad seeing that he was taking a more balls to the wall type of performance, and you could tell he had a lot of fun playing this guy that basically has to do everything with fucking two guns on his hands, and he can't even pull his pants up or anything. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, you could tell he's having a blast. Of course, he's like the fucking like the main hype of this movie, and he was my favorite part of the film. And yeah, he's just having a blast, just. And then when he's stuck in that dilemma where he just can't use his hands, pull up his pants, the scene which threw me out of the fucking bunkers was the scene where he's taking a piss and actually shows his dick, or if it was
Yeah.
dick, and he pees over his face because he can't get his dick in the toilet. You know, they do all crazy shit like that. I was like, wow, I'm watching Harry Potter playing with his dick and seeing his dick, and he couldn't get it, you know, the fucking in the toilet. Times have changed, and yeah, the dilemmas that he goes through, man. He does go through some fucking hell in this movie.
Yeah, he
You know,
does.
he's
Because
got a clean slate with no bad records, and overnight, you know, he's like not only being, you know, he's got his girlfriend held hostage, his ex, but he loves her still. He's got a fucking crazy woman named Nixon or Nix after him that pretty much has killed everybody who's played this game. She's unstoppable. And he's got that schism people also after him, but he's also got involved in a lot of criminal activities. You know, he's being seen by the police shooting other cops on accident. So he's got all this fucking shit going on. And like I said, it's like Crank, just fucking everything. It's just, you know, you take speed and you're just like, what the fuck?
yeah, and one of my other appreciate things I love the most. Well, one of the other things I like too. It was cool seeing Samara Weaving, who if you may remember from Ready or Not from last year and all that. It was her performance in this. It shows that she had a lot of fun too because she was playing a character that I swear was like a cross between Elizabeth Salander from The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo mixed with a little bit of Harley Quinn on that weird fucking insane level of hers, but in like a a cranked out version of it.
Yeah, and it's cool because her character, she plays like this girl who's pretty much, she's basically Daniel Radcliffe's character's got to kill her, and then they trick her into saying, well, before you're done with this game, you got to do one last task. She's got to kill him, so it's back and forth with both of them. And it's funny because she's like so badass at fucking shooting, and the way she can move and choreograph with like twists and turns was really good. And it's funny too because they also introduce a lot of drug use in this because she needs like crank, like fucking meth to get her all hyped up. It's like again, video games. Eating a mushroom, you get all big and it's powerful and stuff. So it goes batshit on this, and I will say I like that. I like the color schemes very well. It comes off like very hobo and the shotgun type feel. And like I said, Crank, it's really bright colors, like a lot of very bright and the city they're in is like Arkham looking. So I like that whole setting.
Yeah, I do too. And plus, one of the things I appreciate too, like with the way that the movie's going along with the whole concept, was it actually feels like you're in a video game because he's having to go from one point to one point, and when he has to like get down and having to like eat food or something like that, you'll see like it actually comes into kind of like video game like food and everything, and it actually is structured like a video game, and it's almost like you're pitted with them because you have live streams going on at the same time, people watching. So it's like we're watching it, and the actual movie actually plays in on the joke of it.
The fucking compare this movie, but when we were talking about the people are watching, it's kind of like reminiscent of Halloween Resurrection, where people are actually watching the computers.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like. But another thing I got to say, I expected it to be, but it went over my expectations on this. This movie was fucking incredibly violent. Holy shit, was this movie violent?
Yeah, I enjoyed a lot of the brutality in the film. I do have a pro con because it really falls into a lot of the CGI blood that they use throughout. But the movie knows what it's kind of going for that fun type of vibe with it, with not taking it too serious or anything. So I was still having a good time with seeing motherfuckers getting blown to bits and shit. So
They do a lot of cam in this too, where she's doing slow motion, where she's shooting. And I think that was probably one of the issues with the CGI blood. But like the aftermath of the violence looks really practical, and it's very bloody.
Yeah, it is. But also, I gotta love that the movie had a lot of fucking hilarious humor to it too, because when they do like a lot of video game references, or they're kind of like playing tongue in cheek references to like, especially this one part where Samara Weaving is talking to this one girl who's one of the henchwomen of the main villain. They're talking to each other about their guns and stuff. He's like, "Oh, I appreciate that, but I had to kill you." you know, there's just so much of a vibe that it plays off very like it's kind of self-referent, not well, kind of tongue in cheek, basically.
You can tell easily they're not taking this film seriously, so I can't really bash it too hard on that. But yeah, just like I like the choreograph of the way the camera angles, like the way the director handled his camera usage, like the part where like when someone's rolling around or when Daniel Radcliffe is like kind of getting up and he's kind of woozy and fucked up, you get like that twist where the camera will go this way and just turn and it's like going on a roller coaster. So he
Yeah,
gets the camera involved, kind of feeling like he wants you to be a part of the fun too. And I thought that was kind of a neat concept of how he
yeah,
did that. Yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
And so,
Other than that, I don't know if I can. Oh, I did one more thing. I did kind of like the soundtrack too with Blue Monday from Orgy. I think that
yeah,
was
yeah,
their
yeah.
You
Yeah, they,
Spin
they
Me
have
Right.
some cool cover songs that I appreciate that kind of went with that whole vibe. And it was almost like it was a callback to Ready Player One where they're using that kind of music as well when they're actually inside, well, when they're playing out like a video game.
Hey Baby, not Blue Monday from Orgy. I was thinking of that song, but yeah, it's kind of like those type of music, like Orgy type music was playing in this, and they had that Spin Me Right Round Baby. Whoever sings that was in it. And they just had some other good music in it, so the soundtrack was pretty decent. Other than that, getting my cons, the villain uh, was he's cool, but I felt like he was so standard. Like there
Yeah.
wasn't much with him, and that's another thing I got problem with this film is it takes on its plot, even though it's trying to be fun, it becomes very standard throughout the story. You can tell that's why you see it's not in theaters. The villain was downplayed very bad. Or not very bad, but he was downplayed. He was cool looking. The guy who plays him was the guy who played like the Hitchman, the cult leader in Mandy. He's a cool ass actor. He could play a scary guy. It's just they don't use him very much other than a guy just sitting in the background watching his game play out. And you don't get a lot of that. And I did feel like the plot was really messy at times because you introduce us this like quick backstory with this girl he's after her, and there was like a history with the boss and her family. And it's pretty much just quick thrown out there. Not to mention some of the editing was real bad too, going back to where he sets up a plan to take them down.
Yeah,
So
it did feel very, formulaic with that and having to, go through by the numbers. And yeah, I get what you're saying. That was one of my issues too with the guy. You really could have like played it up with like maybe take a more kind of like spin on the type of villainous type of thing, but they went with it the usual route. One of my other problems, like we brought up earlier, was for the most part, while I'm still having fun seeing a lot of the shootouts and stuff, the movie did kind of have like a fun feel with, as far as the shootouts, like Shoot 'Em Up, which is another underrated movie. I did feel like for a lot of scenes, they could have really could have rendered the CGI a lot better for a lot of the blood because you could tell that there are a lot of scenes where it seems very obvious that it's CGI blood.
the problem is when they do the slow scenes is where you see a lot of the CGI blood because there's a lot of parts where the girl is doing like that slow motion, where boom boom, where you see the bullet fall, kind of like Matrix scene all the way to to its victim, and boom, you see the blood just really computer generated. I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Could did a lot better on that. The film at the end, like there was something that happens in the end I wasn't really convinced on. I felt like they just made Daniel Radcliffe pretty much Jason Statham at the end of fucking Crank, where we saw Statham fall from the sky and he fucking hits the ground. You thought he was dead. Nothing like that happens in this, but there's something that does happen, and I kind of on the believability. I kind of want a mixture of that and batshit crazy too, and it just came off as like a force to build a sequel,
Yeah.
which might be neat. It's just the way they pulled it off at the end was, it wasn't bad. It just wasn't nothing memorable. So other than that, I mean, I really don't have much else to add, but I had fun time at least. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead with because of the entertainment value, I'm going to go ahead and give this a very, 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 very low compelling grade in the Film Freaks meter.
I agree with you. It's a very low compelling grade for the Film Freaks meter for me as well. So, for those of you who have also seen Guns Akimbo, let us know in the comments below what you thought about it. And if you like what you see here, feel free to like and subscribe. And we'll be seeing you on our next review. We'll see you later.
Later.